Of all the systems in our body, one of the least well-known ones is the excretory system, but it's important for survival, so let's take a look. The excretory system includes the urinary system and the kidneys, which have two very important jobs. First, they regulate the water content of the blood. This is vital for maintaining blood pressure, and it maintains an osmotic balance. Second, the kidneys excrete toxic waste products in the metabolism. What does this mean? Well, we have to get rid of waste like carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste, and other substances. Let's focus on the anatomy. We have two kidneys in the lower back. We also have ureters, which drain the urine produced by the kidneys to the bladder. Then we have the urethra, a single tube where urine travels out of the body. Urine is produced by the kidneys, but what's the process? Well, first blood is filtered by the kidneys, producing urine, which is a portion of the body's waste products that must be excreted. The main character in this whole process is something called the nephron. Each kidney contains around 1 million nephrons. They start in the cortex of the kidney, loop down into the medulla, and back up to the cortex. The contents drain into the inner part of the kidney, where the urine collects before it flows into the ureter and bladder. What about the parts of the nephron? Well, this is the glomerulus, like a bundle of capillaries. It is surrounded by the Bowman's capsule. We can also see the proximal convoluted tube and the distal convoluted tube. And finally, this is the loop of Henle. One of the things the nephron perform is ultrafiltration. Blood flows from the renal artery through the glomerulus, where high pressure squeezes out water, urea, ions, and glucose out of the blood. It goes into the Bowman's capsule. The membranes between these are like filters, so big molecules like proteins and blood cells aren't squeezed out. The nephrons also perform reabsorption. As the filtrate flows along the nephron, useful substances are selectively reabsorbed back into the blood. Glucose is reabsorbed from the proximal convoluted tube. Sufficient ions are reabsorbed. Sufficient water is reabsorbed from the collecting duct by osmosis. And finally, the nephrons perform release of wastes. The remaining substances like water, ions, and ureas from the urine, it continues out of the nephron through the ureter, down the bladder, and stores there until being released by the urethra. On top of all this, the kidneys perform osmoregulation. They adjust the body's water content, constantly balancing the water coming in against the water going out. So even though we sometimes forget about the excretory system, it's always working to help us survive.